Okay, let's see. Wait, speak into it real quick.
Ruth Konda, Forever, Bader Ginsburg.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Cameron Kasky is in the building. We are going to be, obviously, I'm going to be continuing talking about this. He is, unlike all the other guests that I have on, he's actually a Hasanabi head, so he's in the chat with you in a lot of these instances. And I would say probably the most leftist out of all the Parkland kids that now grew up and are adults.
Uh, Maybe not, but of the ones that stuff like CNN, yeah, probably. I'm doing Tapper in like 2 hours, and I'm very interested in seeing what nuanced discussion we're gonna have about gun control on that program.
Yeah, probably not much. So yeah, I mean the CNN point of view on this stuff is just like, no, these guns are for killing Muslim children overseas, like not for killing American children here in America. What the fuck are you doing with guns? That's their attitude for the most part. But for those of you who don't know, here, let's pull up your Wikipedia. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Cameron Kasky is an activist. More importantly than anything else, obviously he's a Hasanabi head, but he's an American activist and an advocate against gun violence who co-founded the student-led gun violence prevention advocacy group Never Again. He's a survivor of the Parkland shooting, Parkland school shooting, and yeah, he is here to talk about gun control from a leftist perspective. He's notable for organizing to help organize the March for Our Lives nationwide student protest in March 2018. And he's a survivor of the February 2018 mass shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. Wow, you were included in Time Magazine's 100 Most Influential People of 2018.
Me and Kim Jong-un.
Really? Well, I mean, Kristen Cinema's on this one, so
Is she really?
yeah, she was one of the most influential.
Excited. Probably freaking out. That's why she did it, I imagine. It's funny. It says he currently attends Columbia University. There's so much wrong stuff on this.
You don't attend Columbia University? Is it fake news?
I think I'm still enrolled because I'm in a program where you kind of never leave. But I don't attend Columbia University. I can't afford that shit.
All right, I'm cranking his volume up more.
My apologies, everybody.
I'm not gonna give your username away. I don't know what it is, but also I'm not gonna give it away regardless.
Gotcha.
It's probably not. It's probably for the best. I don't know if you post a lot in the chat or not, but
It's at Proud Resistor.
wait, really?
No, it's like Cam Kasky or some shit. I don't know.
Okay.
I've been in chat before. I know some of you. I've seen some of you people around.
No, it's not Proud Resistor, dude. Okay. Yeah, Proud Liberal. What the fuck is this? Okay, so yeah, he's Vorlo. He's here to be under my house. Okay. That's like a chat meme. All right. So look, you don't have a lot of time, so I'm just gonna continue covering this as I was already. What do you? I mean, we were just talking about Beto O'Rourke, but what are your thoughts on Beto O'Rourke?
Well, I mean, I have been very, very vocally critical of most of what Beto O'Rourke has done since since he almost slapped Ted Cruz. I think that was a great moment, but I think we all kind of expected him to become this like Obama lib darling that made the same exact kind of resistance moms excited, but was never particularly doing as much as I think he claimed he was doing. That being said, it's this like catch-22 where, you know, my first thought after this kind of stuff is it's so fucking annoying that everybody's like, yep, you see these school shootings, you got to vote. But on the other hand, hey, Texas should probably vote for fucking Beto O'Rourke. So I'm like, do I speak the truth, which is voting keeps us in this cycle of violence where we're never going to be able to make this shit happen? Or do I speak the other truth, which also happens to be true, which is Beto O'Rourke has a semblance of a shot at doing something in Texas, and Texas has horrible gun laws. But then again, as somebody with a left-wing perspective, I know a lot of people don't want to disarm the working class, and also going to people of color in a country where the police are like fucking violent as fuck and in gangs and shit and doing awful things, and being like, hey, cough up the guns, give them over to me. It's a lot more nuanced than people want to treat it as, because gun control laws are everything from life-saving to racist, and it's tough.
Yeah. Well, Beto O'Rourke went up as Governor Greg Abbott was talking earlier today, and he said, like, you're responsible, something along those lines. I mean, this is theater, but from what I understand, he does legitimately care. Like, this is one issue that he legitimately cares about, I think, to a certain degree, because if he didn't care about it, then he would never, as I was saying earlier, he would never fucking run in Texas as someone who wants to maintain a role in, like, Texas politics and openly run on, like, or openly campaign on saying, openly campaign on saying stuff like, I'm going to take guns away in Texas. Like, you have to care about it. Shooters already had a gun illegally. Politicians telling lies you can't own a gun legally at 18 years old, but Buffalo shooter did. How? Why? Someone blames on guns. This guy is literally fucking Turkish. His name is Çılgın Motorcu, and he's over here talking about American gun laws and just spreading misinformation as well.
One of the biggest bits of misinformation we
Fucking
see
idiot.
is after mass shootings is Republicans mining for any fake shit they can use to treat the shooter as somebody who was dealing with gender dysphoria and use it as an attack on trans people and on non-binary
They did
people.
that already, yeah.
They did that for this one?
Yeah,
I
they
didn't even
did.
fucking know that.
Yeah,
Jesus
immediately one of the first things that they did is they found like a trans woman on Reddit and were like, this is the shooter actually. And she was like, I'm literally alive. The shooter is dead. What the fuck? This is me. But that didn't stop them. That didn't stop fucking Paul Gosar, the 4chan representative, from coming out and also blaming a random trans person for the shooter as the shooter. He tweeted about it. Great country, to be honest. Like, it's awesome. It's just politics is great in this situation. But it doesn't matter. They can just like lie anyway. So here's the Paul Gosar tweet for the record. This false the shooter was trans rumors going around the far right is from a 4chan thread that links to a completely uninvolved person on Reddit who is still alive, doesn't live in Texas, and obviously had nothing to do with the shooting. Here, I'll just retweet this as well. We already know, fooled. It's a transsexual leftist illegal alien named Salvatore Ramos. It's apparently your kind of trash. That's what he said.
You have to, people like to also treat this as something that's kind of a new phenomenon. But if you look back at the shit they were saying after Parkland, and to tell you the truth, I wasn't like tapped into culture at the time of Sandy Hook and other shootings, so I didn't really know the response. But after Parkland, they were making up the most insane shit in the world. It was fucking nuts. They said I happen to be someone who spoke on television about a mass shooting who has a father and grandfather who were adoption lawyers. So QAnon saw adoption lawyer and they were like, "Oh, Russian child trafficking."
They said you're like a QAnon. They say your family's QAnon.
They said my family. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't deep state child trafficking shit. As if my father and grandfather are nearly intelligent enough to pull something like that off.
Yeah. I turned off the noise gate, by the way. I know that there a lot of people are saying this, but here, let's move back a little bit more, and then as long as you like speak directly into the microphone, like very close, it should be fine. Yeah, I mean, I just like I don't even use the Joe Rogan like one punch method. People are just fucking complaining nonstop in here. I'm sorry, it's really really annoying, but so. I think your mic today is unusually loud. Okay, here I'll lower my microphone as well so it doesn't fucking peak, and then you guys can hear both of us in the same audio level. Please behave, chat. Please fucking chill. Sorry, this is just incredibly annoying. Okay, so yeah, they blamed a random trans person. What else is new on that front? But I mean, the reaction that they have, the things that they've said so far are exactly the same in the aftermath of Parkland, in the aftermath of Sandy Hook, and they're going to continue saying the same things over and over again. It's such a automated response that it's such a fucking automated response that like people engage with. One, don't make this political. Even though it's inherently a political issue, that is the reason. There is one main difference that, like, I mean, there's a reason why this happens all the time in America, right, and not in any other comparable OECD developed nation, right? That is the prevalence of guns, obviously. The other thing is like, oh well, if it's a white shooter, they'll say mental health. Okay, well then offer some kind of remedy for that. They don't do that either. They don't care. It's just a way to deflect away the attention from guns and having a conversation about gun control. Then they now recently have started, like in the aftermath of Parkland, where they brought up the Pioneer program, I think it's called, like the Florida, the arming teachers.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the like.
We're gonna get right into it.
Sorry, so I thought you were talking about the Obama era program that was for students who needed serious discipline. That was one of the things that the right really targeted with that shooter. But there was also, the arming teacher shit. But I mean, out of Florida, like, you can expect that type of bullshit.
Yeah. Super quiet. Oh my god. I'm gonna fucking lose my mind, dude.
Guys, this is a difficult subject. All right, we're not trying to yell at you about it.
I will yell at them about it. I will yell at them a lot once this segment is over. Being fucking insanely annoying.
Nobody's madder at chat than chat right now. There's a civil war happening.
It's just like, it's so fucking annoying. They literally, if it's not like perfect, if it's not 100% perfect, they just lose their shit. Like, it's just,
They can wait until we're playing Elden Ring.
Yeah. Okay. So, where was I? Oh yeah, I was talking about the canned responses. One of the things that they have moved on to now is just like making schools not be soft targets, and what they mean by that is they want to put people, guards, security guards, cops, school resource officers in schools to be the good guy with a gun, right? That's basically what they're talking about. Like, they need a good guy with a gun myth that would also work in schools because it works in real life. It's not something that works in real life, and it didn't even work in Parkland specifically.
Do you know the whole story with him?
Here, tell everyone in the chat what happened in Parkland.
In Parkland, the SRO, the school resource officer, who I saw every single day at school, like, he was doing the traffic entering, like, we all knew this guy, Officer Scott Peterson. He fucking Irish exited the shooting, saw that there was a mass shooting going on, and dipped out literally faster than I've ever seen anybody leave anything. And then instantly, like, conservatives were like, all right, well, we need to get as many cops on campus as possible. And that's where the within the left wing kind of discussion about guns gets complicated. Is, okay, disarming members of the working class is dangerous in a country where the working class is actively oppressed, but on the other hand, disarming the working class is like, putting police officers in these situations only makes them more violent. And with the AR-15s and similar guns, there's already so fucking many of them out there. An assault weapons ban is about stopping those things from entering the market. It's not about anything else. There's too many for it to be safe for consumer use, and they're marketed like consumer products. They have the same fucking focus groups doing their advertisements as there are for Mattel. Like, it's insane what's going on. And within the left, it's difficult because people make really good points about police being brought into situations when other people can't defend themselves. If you disarm, the citizens, does that mean that we're going to count on the police for anything? How are you supposed to say that to people in a community?
No, I don't. I think, like, well, one thing I always talk about is, like, when I talk about disarming people, or when I talk about like gun control and restrictions on the purchase of guns in some capacity or licenses. I'm actually talking about disarming the police as well. I think the police should have less guns. There should be less guns overall. It goes hand in hand. Now, the other thing I have to mention here is because the cops will use and they'll justify bigger budgets and say they need further militarization by saying that, like, everyone can have an AR-15. Like, I'm terrified. I'm a cop.
Eric
it's like
Adams is big about it. He's got those, like, let's take the guns off the streets, and it's just like, okay, here's another $1 billion.
Yeah. So that is, you can't talk about gun control without, like, also talking about disarming police in a meaningful way as well. Obviously, that also has to happen. One of the things I want to talk about, though, specifically with respect to good guy with a gun being a myth, okay, is the reality that there were cops at the school, as far as we know, from what we understand. Anderson Cooper talked about this last night. There were cops already at the school. They were shooting at the shooter. Yesterday. And they claimed that he had a body armor, which we don't know if it's true or not. They're saying he only had a plate carrier now. And they couldn't ding him. So they just allowed this fucking dude to walk into the school and kill 19 children and 3 adults.
Well, it's the same thing as the metal detector thing. It's like, if somebody wants to go fucking shoot a bunch of people, They can shoot the people in the line for the metal detector. The metal detector argument is so fucking popular, even with liberals. Liberals love the metal detectors at school idea. And the metal detectors at school idea is based on the premise that a student is just going to come in with an AR-15, a huge piece of machinery in their backpack, and be like, hey, I'm going to make sure that I do math and chemistry before I begin murdering people, as if these shooters aren't people who are coming in and instantly fucking doing what they're doing. So it's absurd. It's just a way for them to harass black students. That's what they love doing after mass shootings, is making being a black student as difficult as possible.
This is also known as the school to prison pipeline, where the presence of police in schools are turned into basically another way to harass, bully, and even throw into jail black students and brown students usually. During the Abbott press conference, they said the cop didn't fire any shots before the shooter entered the school. Okay, that makes it even worse though, because cops were there on scene. So that what you're telling me is the pussy cops like actually didn't do anything? Is that what you're saying? Like they didn't even fucking try to prevent them? Because here is Sergeant Eric Estrada. Okay, I don't know if
what?
Sergeant Eric Estrada of the Texas Department of Public Safety.
80s actor, right? He was on Chips.
Okay, well, I don't know, but I don't know if this is that person. It's just
Fired.
probably no relation. But Sergeant Eric Estrada of the Texas Department of Public Safety tells Anderson Cooper that the shooter crashed his car near the school, got out with a gun, wearing body armor, and was engaged by law enforcement, but made his way into the school anyway and went to the classroom to engage in shooting. So I don't know what the response time was ultimately, but there are officers stationed, or there are officers for each school district in Texas. So the idea that like schools are soft targets and that there needs to be more protection, more security, more good guys with guns is fucking silly, because there were good guys with guns there and they fucking backed away and waited for BORTAC to come in. BORTAC is the special weapons and tactics for ICE, basically the ones that were black bagging and zip tying Portland protesters during the George Floyd protests last year or in 2020.
I saw your tweet about that yesterday. Do you know, like, are they? You said they were operating within 100 miles of all the land borders?
Yes, sea levels, everything. Yeah. So the BORTAC is a they get they're basically the SWAT team for ICE, and they get international training. They're really, really fucking horrible. Especially because they violate they can violate your Fourth Amendment rights all the time. Like ICE can, if you live in a border town, ICE can straight up stop you under the false suspicion, like under no suspicion whatsoever, with the assumption that you're an illegal immigrant or doing something like trafficking illegal immigrants or whatever. They can stop you. Or BORTAC is under Border Patrol, not ICE. Sorry, it's same shit. It's still under the Department of Homeland Security. Yeah. They are also in that town specifically because Robb Elementary School is a border town, is in the border town of Uvalde, Texas. So there's a lot of ICE and Border Patrol presence there in that town, regardless. But members of an elite Border Patrol tactical team known as BORTAC responded to the shooting, but couldn't get into the classroom because of a steel door and a cinder block. Inside, authorities found dead children in multiple piles, according to the officials. So according to what Tucker Carlson was saying last night, and I don't know if that's believable at all, one BORTAC officer was the reason why the shooter was shot. But regardless, they could not apprehend the shooter despite engaging with him outside. Okay? They were engaging with the shooter outside of the They were engaging with the shooter outside of the fucking house, outside of the school. They basically could not do anything about it. They were just like, oops, sorry, can't do anything. Wait. Oh, I did not take your noise gate off. That's what the problem was. Okay, now it should be good. Speak into it again.
Hey, everyone.
Okay, I think now it should be good. Fucking Christ, that's what it was. I was pissed off thinking like chat was being fucking annoying.
Guns don't kill people. Bad sound kills people.
Yeah. I think you should be good now. It should be a lot better, I think, now. Now that the noise gate is off on yours. Okay. Okay. All right. I don't know why it happened like that. Chat was being fucking annoying regardless. All right. So, stop saying Candace Owens is running with the trans narrative, please. I'm trying to go through the fucking details. We'll get back to like dumbass Republicans using dumbass Republicans using this as an opportunity to attack trans people. Okay, shut the fuck up, chat. It's fine. We'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, the reason why I was talking about the canned response from the Republican Party is because everyone in unison collectively decided to run with that and say, oh, schools need to not be soft targets. Schools need to not be soft targets. Schools need more security. Schools need more police officers with guns stationed in schools. And guess what? They did have that, and it didn't fucking work, okay? It happened in Parkland where the school resource officer fucking ran away like a cowardly asshole. And it happened in this circumstance as well, where they engaged with the shooter, as far as we know, and then it claimed that the shooter had a fucking plate carrier with armor in it, and that's why their shots weren't doing anything. And then they had to fucking sit around and wait for backup to come in and do something about it, basically allowing children to be thrown at the problem instead of police officers who constantly talk about how their lives are in fucking jeopardy, how their lives are under threat every single day, despite being the 17th most dangerous fucking profession in America. You know, it's a way deadlier to be a fucking roofer or a landscaper, but hey, what do I fucking know?
I think I might have seen something last night. I was reading up about it. Isn't it that more children have now been killed in schools this year than cops on duty? I'm almost certain that's
that is true. Yes, more school more school children have been killed in schools in the United States of America in 2020 than cops by gunfire on the line of duty. Yeah. So they are getting like gigantic swaths of the actual budget. A lot of the budget allocation goes to police and so they can buy MRAPs and like all this tactical gear and feel super cool when they're harassing people.
All the COVID that they got.
Yeah, and then they all get fucking butchered by COVID regardless. Most of the cop deaths, for those of you who don't know, come from COVID, for the record. It's the most deadly thing for cops since COVID started popping off. 2020, 2021, 2022, cops are dying way more. They're dying way more on the line of duty. Okay, and they're all dying from fucking COVID.
Meanwhile, like a lot of reputable, or at least considered reputable liberals are out here being like, well, it's important that we protest for the Black Lives Matter, but it is important to consider what's happening to these police officers. And it's like, yeah, they should wear a fucking mask
or get vaccinated. But they're all anti-vaxxers, and the police union, police union defends them. But yeah, more children, more students at fucking school have died in gunfire than cops on the line of duty. Just remember that. That's the country you're living in. As a matter of fact, the number one cause of child fatality in this country used to be car accidents. And that's no longer the case. It's actually gunfire now. Around approximately like 4,000, I think. Like, gunfire is the leading cause of death for children in this country. In 2020, gunfire became the leading cause of death. Firearms have overtook auto accidents as the leading cause of death in children. Remember, there's nothing we can do about it. It's just a natural way of things, okay? Guns are naturally occurring in the wild. There's nothing we can do to regulate it. There's nothing we can ever do to maybe try to prevent some of this from happening. Well, especially the pro-life party loves this shit. But yeah. 10% of those deaths, 4,357 were children, okay? 10% of all firearm-related deaths in the United States in 2020, out of the nearly 50,000 gunfire fatalities that happened in 2020, 10% of that, 4,357, were children.
Meanwhile, conservatives will instantly, like it's completely burned into their brain, say, well, you have to remember that almost every single gun death is actually gangs. And they like to pretend it's not fucking dipshit dads not putting the safety on their gun, cleaning their gun improperly, kids going in,
or suicide, which is nearly more than half of the suicide successful suicide attempts. I don't know how to fucking phrase it correctly, but
suicide deaths.
They are. Yeah, they are. Oh fuck! Oh, I can't see this.
Defense?
Daniel Defense is the business that actually sold. Does anyone have the screenshot of Daniel Defense?
Let me see if I can find it.
Because now they're like blocked.
Let me go to Ethan's
But
Twitter.
the company that fucking sold in Georgia, the famous Georgia company that sold the AR-15s that this kid used on his that he purchased on his 18th birthday, by the way, legally. That company straight up yesterday posted a photo of a fucking baby. They blocked me. Wait, they did?
It's baby. Train up a child in the way he should go.
Yeah,
and
here.
when he is old, he will not depart from it.
Yeah, this is it. Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. This is a baby that they fucking posted. They locked their account probably because they probably were getting harassed. They posted this while the shooting was happening. An hour during the shooting happening, they also posted the "Do you run a DDM4 V7?" which is what the gun the shooter was using, if I'm not mistaken. Okay.
It's great advertising for them. I mean, it's how they sell this shit.
Yeah. They locked their account. Daniel, the mass shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary in 2012 drove us a lot of sales. That was a horrible event, and we don't use those kinds of terrible things to drive sales. But when people see politicians start talking about gun control, he's openly admitting it, by the way. This is something I talked about before. A fascinating phenomena in America is that, you know what sells guns? Mass shootings. I've told you this before. Gun sales go up during Democratic administrations. Gun sales go up because people think, oh my God, the Democrats are coming for our guns, and they go and try to purchase. Guns. But yeah, the mass shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary drove a lot of sales. He's openly stating it right now. What about common sense gun control proposals like closing the gun show loophole? How would such a measure affect your business? Terms like common sense come from people whose only goal is to take our guns away. There is no gun show loophole. Every licensed dealer has to follow the law. Yeah, I mean, he was following the law in that situation when he sold this exact weapon that they're fucking promoting on their account while the shooting was happening, by the way, or I think an hour after the shooting occurred. This is what they sold to the shooter themselves. Those transactions happen to shows, outside of shows, and on Craigslist and between friends. They don't affect our business. That's what he said. But unlicensed private dealers sell at gun shows, and they don't have to do background checks.
That guy looks like if you took every white guy from the Vince Gilligan, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul universe and just put them all into one person. You ever watch those shows?
I haven't watched Breaking Bad, yes.
You gotta watch Saul.
What? Do you just not fucking find debunked or not? 4chan mouth breeders and conservative assets are going to either believe that bullshit or use as a cover to attack trans people. Dude, what are you saying? I never said that is fine. I just said that it's such a fucking overt and obvious fabrication and a misdirection from the truth that, like, I will get to that eventually, but it says more about where you are consuming information if you believe that. Fun thread on line of duty deaths and police to really drive the point home. I mean, I talked about this already. Yeah, I showed this yesterday. But yeah, 50% of the on the line of duty drowning deaths were off-duty cops who drowned while enjoying a day off with their families. Going to the beach with your son has nothing to do with being a cop. I mean, the automobile crashes, like, maybe they should not drive like fucking dickheads. And also, COVID-19 is still the number one cause of fatality for cops. So remember that, like, they beef up they pad their stats all the time. They used to, in certain jurisdictions, include canine units that were killed or died as a on the line of duty death as well. I believe they stopped doing that.
Sorry, PETA.
Yeah, they count heart attacks. Of course, they count heart attacks. Obviously. So, gunfire inadvertent means, I think, getting shot by another cop. Like,
I'll look it up.
Okay. So yeah.
Yeah, it's the officer is the victim of an accidental, unintentional discharge of a firearm by the victim officer or another officer. So it's like if they accidentally or supposedly accidentally shot themselves or another one.
Yeah. Gun cleaning accidents, maybe friendly fire. So yeah, that's that's one of the ways that happens. Sorry, I just saw another fucking insane tweet really quickly that I will pull up now. This is my favorite type of person on the internet, the Matt Iglesias style liberal that says things like this: every child's death is a tragedy, and I'm in favor of stricter gun regulations, but for the sake of everyone's mental health, we should remember that there are more than 50 million K through 12 school children in the U.S. Dying in a mass school shooting is literally less than 1 in a million danger. Yeah, bro. Like, come on, guys. It's not that big of a deal, except like, it just seems to happen almost exclusively in America. So strange, so strange that it just like seemingly only happens in the United States of America for some fucking weird reason.
And as you regularly point out, the real dark comedy of it is the perpetual victim take that like every gun person has in a country where you're like it's the best country in the world if you're a fucking gun fetishist who needs that shit to like feel special. And everybody's talking about how they're always constantly under attack. And nothing's getting done. It's like they're always in fight or flight mode. There's this paranoia to it that's really at the center of the way that as we just said that they market. It's all about keeping everybody fucking terrified of people like you showing up. What was it that Alex Jones said and like stealing their daughter?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're in a constant state of panic. American Republicans are in a constant state of panic. A lot of the reactionaries in this country are also in a constant state of like assuming that people are out to get them and that they need to fucking defend themselves with their weapons. They greatly overemphasize their own personal skill level in an active shooting situation. They think that they will be the fucking good guy with a gun that will, personally stop the bad guy with a gun from doing anything. It's like not. It's a falsehood.
Before. You fired big guns before. It's a fucking insane thing. Something like an AR-15, the shit that can do to the body of the person operating it. It's fucking dangerous. With bump stocks, people are always talking about banning bump stocks. And if you're walking into a school with a bump stocked out AR-15, all this to say, like you said, people overestimate their ability to stop these things. Cops can't fucking stop these things. And they got their however many hours of training in police academy that, of course, never went to dealing with serious things like...
The New York Police Department has a 17% hit rate on an active shooting situation. 17% is is the amount of times they actually hit the target in an active shooting. Those motherfuckers actually do get shooting training, okay? Most people don't even get that level of training. And it doesn't matter. Also, you mentioned bump stocks. The gun fetishists are going to fucking jump up your ass and be like, bump stocks is a bad take. Doesn't really do anything. By the way, the same fucking reason for why bump stocks...
My take.
No, the same reason why... they're... It doesn't matter. God forbid you say like something just like a little bit incorrect when describing a gun.
Well, actually,
every fucking weeb that like literally wants to shove a gun up their asses and that's the only way they can fucking come anymore will come in here and tell you you're so wrong. You shouldn't talk about this. How fucking wrong are you that you're trying to talk about this? Like, say clip just to distract the gun nuts for a second. Yeah, I'm just exclusively using clip going forward instead of magazine. And also, I'm going to tell everyone that the AR stands for assault rifle. Fucking idiots, dude. Anyway, so, God, they're so fucking stupid. Every part of this is just fucked. People say mental health is important. Mental health is something that we need to address, and then turn around and refuse to address it. It's all a misdirection, and it still ultimately works to beef up the profits of our industry, our gun manufacturing industry. Okay.
I will say gun manufacturing is one of the only industries that America has managed to make work. So congratulations to them.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if we are the only developed nation where this happens all the fucking time. It doesn't matter if, you hear harrowing things like firearms overtaking auto accidents as a leading cause of death in children. It doesn't matter, if the good guy with a gun was literally present in the Robb Elementary School shooting. There was a good guy with a gun at the Buffalo Tops store. There was a good guy with a gun at Parkland. And in none of those instances did the good guy with a gun actually end up preventing people from dying, unfortunately. Okay? And yet, people still go after it. They still go after the narrative of a good guy with a gun, saving the situation, stopping the situation. We need to give more guns. We need to arm every child with a fucking Glock until only then can we be safe. It just sucks. Anyway, Beto O'Rourke confronted Governor Greg Abbott.
Did you watch the video yet?
I looked at it briefly, but we'll watch what he said.
There are family members. There are family members who are crying as we speak. There are family members whose hearts are broken. There's no words that anybody shouting can come up here and do anything to heal those broken hearts. Every Texan, every American has a responsibility where we need to focus not on ourselves and our agendas. We need to focus on the healing. And
so what's up? Like, what do you, when he says stuff like that, what I want to understand is, like, what do you mean? Like, what can we do? Like, what should we do? How do we focus on healing and try to prevent this senseless violence from happening?
I mean, it's something you get from liberals and conservatives alike when they're not interested in doing something. It's such a strong pathos to say this is the time to think of the victims. The victims are enduring this horrible thing, and that's so very true. But in terms of political discussions, last night I was doing the Anderson Cooper show, whatever, the Anderson Cooper 360 or something, and it was right after Biden had given his address where he said, well, isn't this just so sad? And the two people that were on afterwards said, wow, it's great that we have this leader with compassion who's endured this own personal loss himself. And Biden's speech was about how awful loss is. And yeah, it's great that it isn't Trump going over there and doing what he did in Parkland and saying, I would have run into the shooting, I would have fought the shooter. But it's like these people on this this massive news network are out here, just talking about how sad it is that Joe Biden has endured personal loss. And that's what they always do. That's what the narrative always is. It's about personal loss, and it's not about the fact that there's a product on the market that's dangerous and is killing dozens and dozens and dozens of people every single week. So it's like, as somebody who has sat here like, wow, isn't this sad industrial complex hit Parkland up real quick for as many weeks as it was profitable, like seeing this shit, I mean, it's, Republicans, it's obvious. I'm really disappointed when I see it from Democrats who I know are just going to do jack shit. It's the same thing with Biden talking about this and not ever mentioning Joe Manchin. He's talking about all the people who are stopping us from getting meaningful gun reform, will not call out the two people who are completely fucking his presidency by name. Absolute nonsense.
Does anyone have that tweet where like Kyrsten Sinema and I believe Joe Manchin as well are like literally saying the exact same thing that Republican senators have said about like thoughts and prayers? Like they didn't even do the we need to tackle this at the legislative level. They straight up are using the exact same deflection method in the exact same capacity. Look at this. Look, here it is. Kyrsten Sinema, we are horrified and heartbroken by the senseless tragedy unfolding at Robb Elementary School in Texas and grateful to the first responders for acting swiftly. No family should ever have to fear violence in their children's schools. Horrified and heartbroken, says Senator Marsha Blackburn, to learn the significant loss of life in the shooting of Uvalde, Texas. Please join me in lifting their loved ones up in prayer. Thank you for the local first responders working on the scene. Leader Mitch McConnell, horrified and heartbroken by the reports of the disgusting violence directed at innocent school kids in Uvalde, Texas. The entire country is praying for the children, families, teachers, staff, and the first responders on the scene. Straight up the exact same thing that Kyrsten Sinema is saying as the Republicans are. Okay? So just remember, they're getting the same fucking script. They're repeating the same boring ass fucking script that everyone else is repeating because they don't give a shit. They don't care. Democrats ultimately don't care either. I'm sorry. There are some who do. There are some who legitimately do care. I think like they go a little bit beyond like passionate speeches and they do advocate for it. But ultimately, there are enough Democrats that don't care. You know why? Because dead babies is good, okay? It's good for them. They can fucking profit off of it. They can run campaign ads off of it. That's it. That's the end all be all. These motherfuckers don't give a shit about anything. They don't care about your safety. They don't care about your security. They don't care about making things better for you. They care about getting reelected. They care about having and maintaining committee positions so they can get more lobbying done and they can have maybe a cushy job at the end of their fucking career. That's all they give a shit about.
The thing that seriously scares me is the future of people like Eric Adams within the Democratic Party, because Eric Adams has this unbelievably valuable political identity as a black cop Democrat. And that puts him in a space where he's so compelling to so many centrist voters in so many different spaces. Because if I'm a centrist Democrat and I see a black man who claiming he's a progressive, who is also a police officer and pro-police, I would be elated. I would say this is exactly what we need to reach out to the conservatives who would ever vote for a black Democrat for president. Meanwhile, now he's saying he's going to run for president. He's literally saying he's going to be the future of the Democratic Party. And it's like, is Eric Adams going to be the type of basket that the Democrats are putting all their eggs in? Like, is this our future? Is the gun control we get? I don't mean Eric Adams specifically in his fucking rosy bathtubs, but I'm saying like the type of Democrats where gun control is a very popular part of their marketing scheme, but it's specifically the really racist shit that's what we're hearing even from Biden gang. That's like, oh, we need to make sure we're giving cops the resources to be able to track these guns down and stop them. That is literally a Trojan horse for violence. It's so fucking insane. I've said it's so insane, I think, after every stanza on this stream, and I apologize. It's just one of those days.
Look, here's another. This is so feckless and so awful for the record, okay? This is so dumb. Like, I know Senator Chris Murphy had some things to say that were, like, very passionate, and everyone's fucking retweeting him and stuff. But, like, it's this same exact attitude that is responsible for the lack of movement in the Democratic side. It's this idea that, like, you have to get some Republicans to please do the right thing. They're never going to do the right thing, dude. They're never going to do the right thing, okay? You are doing the wrong thing by creating this idea that, like, maybe some Republicans will do the right thing. That has never happened. Why the fuck would it change now? You fucking idiots. Let's take a look at what Chuck Schumer had to say about it.
There is a plague upon this nation. A plague of gun violence that has taken over this country. The problem in the Senate is simple. Too many members on the other side of the aisle are disconnected from the suffering of the American people. Too many members on that side care more about the NRA than they do about families who grieve. To my Republican colleagues, imagine if it happened to you. Imagine if this was your kid or your grandkid. How would you feel? Could you ever?
They don't give a fuck, dude. That's not going to happen to their grandchildren. They're going to private school with, like, fucking, that's like a million times removed from the potential consequences of like a random being in a random underserved and predominantly Latino community. Okay. It's not happening.
And it's also just like nobody's going to talk about the fact that this is a honeypot ice trap. And it's like Democrats have 3 talking points that are so fucking popular because they should be. That we need background checks. Yeah, we fucking need background checks. Red flag laws. That's all great. We're not talking about the fact that gun control as an issue that we need to be enforcing is also used to do shit like that. So I can't even watch politicians talk about it anymore. It just brings me right back to 2018. Like it brings me back to when they were doing it after party. It's just not pleasant because it's the same exact shit. I've gotten older, but their talking points haven't matured at all. I started puberty back in like 2019 and then they've been saying the same shit ever since. So what do you want me to do? Watch the same people looking slightly older saying the same stuff they said after Parkland?
It's just, I mean, yeah, that's all we got.
Ever forgive yourself for not supporting a simple law that would make these mass shootings less likely?
Yeah. Wow, man. Look at yourself. Dude, why the fuck would they care? They live with their demon asses every fucking day. They have already decided that it's okay to fucking rob the American people, refuse to fucking give them health care, refuse to allow them to live a life of dignity, refuse to fucking improve their wages so they don't have to like rely on the government to survive, to get food, even though they're working fucking full-time hours at a Walmart or whatever. Why the fuck would they care if like some people are going to get murdered buy an AR-15 or whatever other kind of fucking gun in a black or brown neighborhood, okay, why would they give a fuck? They don't. They don't care about anything. And part of the reason why they don't care about anything is because this side doesn't do a good job. The Democratic side doesn't do a good job of like pushing back against them, okay, or actually like trying to collectively put together an agenda that has a chance of succeeding, a chance of fucking passing. Change the rules of the fucking game if you need to. All right. They're not doing that either, so they don't have anything. We can't even get the Democrats to fucking care about it, let alone pass their agenda in a meaningful capacity or push to pass their agenda even in a meaningful way, other than just like sit around, throw your hands in the fucking side and go, oh man, how bad are these Republicans? Am I right? They're obstructing every step of the way. Could you ever in a fucking million years imagine Mitch McConnell going up on stage like this and being like, pushing for like, I don't know, executing mothers who had an abortion law or whatever the fuck, right? That's whatever new thing that the Republicans want to pass in that moment, and going, oh man, we simply don't have the votes for this, and honestly, it's a shame on the Democrats to not allow us to pass this legislation, like do the right thing. No, they don't give a fuck. If they undermine the legislative powers, they will go and use the state legislature to push for murdering a fucking teenager who got an abortion bill or whatever the fuck they're pushing for, okay? Like give every baby an AR-15 and a rocket launcher bill. Gets passed if it needs to be passed. If the small arms manufacturers are going to make money off of it and they want the Republicans to push for fucking legislation, they will sidestep congressional power and use the state legislature to do it because they are actually motivated, okay? They are actually motivated and they genuinely do want to make change, whereas the Democrats are simply relying on Republican viciousness to get reelected.
Which, I mean, to their great luck, the viciousness is only becoming clearer, but I mean, you know, we have a whole generation right now that is very, very young, kind of becoming privy to what this whole kind of circle of but vote really is. And it's going to have consequences in the next 10 years. And I don't think people like to think that far ahead.
Yeah. Fun fact, the NRA conference coming up in Dallas, banned guns. Wow, that's interesting. I wonder why they did that. That's a soft target for them.
That shit is always so funny. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to find the places within these horrible situations where you can get a laugh, and virtually anything coming from NRAs. Oh my God.
Oh Jesus, I don't want to look at this, dude.
Oh my God in hell.
Yeah, that's really fucked up. The wild fantasy for Democrats is like Mitch McConnell hearing a guy be like, "Have you no decency, sir?" and being like, "My God, what have I done?" And the Republican fantasy is the giant pile of skulls from the start of Terminator. Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is how it is. It's like they think that like they're going to have you no decency, sir. Their way out of their way into getting like legislation
Mr.
passed.
Vice President, I'm speaking.
Yeah, it's just like you really think like you're gonna play some fucking Lin-Manuel Miranda, and then all of a sudden Republicans are gonna be like, "Oh my God, great Scott,
we'll see.
What have I done?"
I think we ought to try it.
Yeah. No, if they all like sit around and watch West Wing, maybe they'll all believe that we can actually get comprehensive legislative change.
Please, 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 damn it, put yourself in the shoes of these
Gen Z's
parents
gonna
for
love that.
once. If the slaughter of school children can't...
Please, damn it, sir, do it. Like, shut up, nerd. What the fuck? What are you saying, dude?
My friends and I say, "Damn, that's relatable."
Dude, I want like, oh God, I want like pistol duels. If every American has to live under the constant threat of like gun violence when they send their fucking school children to school, okay, and it's a legitimate thing that people have to think about, and people are going through this like traumatic fucking experience of doing like active shooting drills and shit, that teachers are taught specifically to close the door on other students like it's a fucking zombie apocalypse movie. Like teachers have to literally lock the fucking doors, and if there's someone crying outside like, "Please let me in," because that person might be the fucking school shooter, they won't let them inside.
Well, there's another element to it too that is kind of one of those things that you only realize when you're in it, which is when the glass breaks on the window in the door and the first thing that comes in is the gun, and you don't know if it's the shooter or the SWAT team.
Yeah.
And during the shooting, I was in a room with a lot of the special needs kids, and police officers, especially in South Florida, receive absolutely no substantial training in responding to situations with developmentally disabled people. It's like a couple hours, if even, of their education. So I was sitting there with all these special needs kids, some of whom might have had elevated responses to seeing somebody come in with a fucking gun, cop or not a cop. And, you know, it was young students who deal with developmental disabilities. They are not going to process everything that's going on the same way that everybody else is, because they have a different perspective. So when the SWAT team came in, the fear of getting shot or watching somebody get shot continued, because if one of those students had an elevated response, none of us knew if one of the cops was going to fucking murk them. So it's just a whole mess and a half.
Yeah.
And by the way, in terms of what you said about duels and how we need pistol duels, I will say Lin-Manuel Miranda did do that in Hamilton. So maybe
yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like,
if
if every other American has to live with that fear of like their child getting fucking murked at school, okay, and that they have to do like these drills all the time, then, you know, so should Congress, in my opinion. You know, mix it up, spice it up a little bit, make Congress resemble the feelings and attitudes and experiences of the working class by I don't know, engaging in fucking duels sometimes. Just spice it up. Look at how fucking terrified they were when January 6th happened. Everyone shat their fucking pants and then literally collectively talked about how this was almost as bad as 9/11, if not worse, the sacred hallowed halls of Congress. I didn't give a shit. Yeah, I mean, I don't give a shit about the fucking halls of Congress. I shit on the halls of fucking Congress, okay? Fuck them.
I don't know if this will get the Fed sent to my house, but it's really easy to sneak a dab pen into the Capitol. It's really easy. You just put it in your wallet.
Okay, well, I mean, there's apparently, you know, there's other things that you can sneak as well. But look, yeah, massive investigation over January 6th, tons of school shootings, nothing. Yeah, there's so much happened with January 6th. They thought that it was going to be a good political motivator when it was yet another instance of the do-nothing Democrats failing once again. Like, they could have done something in the immediate aftermath of January 6th, but they didn't, okay? They didn't actually truly prosecute any of the fucking people that were directly responsible for it. They're still in those same halls of Congress. And it's just another costly and unnecessary investigation now that's continuing when the people don't even give a shit. A lot of EU chatters aren't aware during lockdown drills. If you're not in the classroom and the announcement comes, you are locked out and you won't get in until the all clear gets called in.
That was another fucked up thing that happened at Douglas was the bathrooms in the building that got shot up. I think 2 out of the 3 of the bathrooms were locked, speaking of dab pens, because kids were vaping in the bathrooms. So there were people trying to get into the bathroom to hopefully escape this deranged shooter that were unfortunately stuck in the halls because the bathrooms were locked. And also what you were saying about teachers having to shut the door and get all the kids in. My dear friend who was killed at Douglas, a guy named Scott Beagle, who I had known since I was very, very young. And he had been my teacher multiple times at multiple schools, and he was my camp counselor. He died shoving kids into his classroom. He died in the doorway, throwing kids in there. And that's part of what getting a teaching degree is now, is learning how to be a fucking first responder.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to say other than, yeah, Jesus. It's just, that's what happened in this school as well. I mean, you have a bunch of teachers. We don't know the exact details, but like a bunch of teachers died. No cops died. I'll tell you that much. Not a single fucking cop put their body on the line in the line of fire.
No, that's
teachers
for
did.
That's for little kids.
Yeah, that's for exactly. It was fourth graders that was in the line of fire. So that was great. The grandma of the shooter did more to try and stop him than the cops did. She tried to stop him from leaving, was wounded, called the cops to give him a heads up. The shooter crashed his truck in front of the school, briefly engaged 2 cops, and then the cops hid. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Oh, yeah. That's what I was trying to explain. Does anyone have the video of...
I knew the cops hit. I didn't know that it was that, like...
Yeah, no.
Blatantly... Like,
what we know
cowardly.
so far about the school shooting was that... early on Tuesday morning, 18-year-old Salvador Ramos sent a private Instagram message to Anita, a 17-year-old girl who he had met randomly on the Tinder for Kids app Yubo in March. I'm about to, Ramos wrote in the message posted at 7:43 a.m. local time in Uvalde, Texas, according to screenshots of the interaction shared with Vice News. When Anita woke up in California, by the way, if you need to leave, like, you can dip
Oh, it's
out.
okay.
It's fine.
I'm on lunch break right now. I'm an intern, but I've got like probably 5 more minutes.
Oh shit. Okay. When Anita woke up in California several hours later, she responded by asking, "You can come back later too, after you're done with your
I'll text
stuff." When Anita woke up in California several hours later, she responded by asking, "About to what?" Ramos didn't tell her what he was going to do, but cryptically added, "I'll tell you before 11. I got a little secret I want to tell you." At 11:16 a.m., Ramos sent his final message to Anita, "I'ma air out." Anita, who was not feeling well and had gone back to sleep, didn't respond to this message until 4 hours later. By that time, Ramos was dead, and so were at least 21 other people, including 19 elementary school children. Ramos had just carried out one of the deadliest school shootings in American history. The first call to law enforcement came at 11:20 a.m., just minutes after he sent a message to Anita. The calls came after Ramos reportedly shot his grandmother, who he was living with. Okay? While some reports initially said Ramos' grandmother was dead, officials later said she had survived and was being treated in the hospital. Her condition is currently unknown. One local told a Newsy reporter that Ramos got into an argument with his grandmother over failing to graduate. He was angry that he did not graduate, and he got into an argument with his grandmother, and she was screaming, the man claimed. It was Texan students last week of school before summer break. That makes it even, that's an additional sad reality there. Ramos then drove off in a dark truck, according to 911 callers, which he crashed into a ditch near the small campus of Robb Elementary School, home to around 600 students in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grades. By the way, as we looked at it yesterday, the Robb Elementary School is one of the, I think it's like 3,600th school, ranks like in the dead last in all schools in the state. The reason for why this public school is ranking nearly dead last out of the 4,000 schools in the state is, of course, because it is 92% Hispanic. So not a lot of surprises there. This is an underserved, underprivileged community, predominantly made up of Latino people. And, they were spending probably too much money on their police force. If I'm not mistaken, I think 40% of the Uvalde budget goes directly to the police force. Those very same fucking cowards that were unable to apprehend or kill this fucking shooter. Yeah. Something that every single person in America uniformly agrees is like the one instance where police violence is justifiable and expected. And while these same dipshits have no problem fucking mag dumping into a 14-year-old, a black kid with a phone in his hand, they could not mag dump into a fucking active shooter. Okay, and said, let's throw some babies at the fucking problem. Let's throw some children and some teachers at the problem instead while we wait for backup.
One thing I'll say before I head out, and then I'll text you later, but one thing I'll say before that is I think one of the massive cultural shifts that we can see about mass shootings in the past 4 years, because Parkland was, let's say, I want to say 4 years and 3 months ago, something like that, is the fact that when the Parkland shooting happened, a lot of people in the media were talking about the names of the survivors, the heroes within the school who showed great courage. A lot of people knew the names of the survivors. Biden and other politicians are still in touch with the victims' families. And like there was a shooting with 10 people getting killed in Buffalo, 5-6 days ago. I don't know a single name of a single one of the victims. They were all black victims, 100% part of the fact that the American media obviously does not acknowledge the suffering that people of color go through in this country and the way that it's treated. But it's like Parkland, Sandy Hook, that there was a lot of personal connection to the event. And right now, this shooting's happening. You don't fucking know who is part of it. You hear stories like this grandma doing an unbelievable human achievement to try and stop violence, and we're not gonna fucking remember. We're not going to remember any of this shit. Meanwhile, a lot of people still remember things from Parkland, and I'm personally, selfishly quite happy that they do, because I hope people remember things about the people we lost in Parkland and the people involved. But it's like these things are stacking and stacking and stacking and stacking, and sure, they were always around, but now they're so built into the media world that, like, I don't remember what shootings happen. I have Freudian slips where I get shootings wrong. I never used to do that. I used to fucking know every detail of every shooting, and now I'm mixing up Albuquerque with Buffalo with some city in Florida. I can Google Florida mass shooting. There's probably one every day at least, and it's a mess. On that note, I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm glad you made it back to the gym, and I will text you.
All right. Thanks
Much
for
love,
coming.
man.
Cameron Kasky, everybody. We'll have you come back later if you want. If you're up for it.